You have tuned in to Fail and Grow. It's an operational podcast, OPEX. Fail and Grow is for you who want to increase your revenue and become more profitable by listening, learning, and laughing by world-class leader within OPEX. We're not just full of knowledge, but also humble enough to share their fuck-ups and what they've learned from it. Your host is me, Wilma, and one of the co-founders and the CEO of VLOXQ, Configure, Price, Quote, which of course is seamlessly integrated to your CRM. We are all about CRM adoption, and we love to reduce the errors that actually occurs when using a spreadsheet for quoting. So we do not like that. We love to increase the revenue and the ROI for the CRM instead.
And today I have a true pleasure to have someone who I met quite recently, but have deeply inspired me. So Marcus Möller is one of the founders to BrightBid. He's currently the CEO of Meetric. And he said, when I always ask my guests to brag a little bit about themselves, so I can do that in the podcast. And he said, well, I didn't do anything really special. And I was like, yeah, right. So what he actually did in BrightBid, he managed to be the top 5% of the fastest growing SaaS companies in Europe during 3 years. Quite impressive to me, at least. And also he had to cut down his sales organization to half, but double the results from before. So to me, that is very, very, very interesting. And Meetric are a very interesting, if I could say so, AI note taker that is actually the only one that is GDPR compliant for real. And during last year, they doubled, how you say, sales under 2024. Quadrupled, thank you. You see, I need help already. Quadrupled the sales during 2024, and also signed partnership with really big telco players in Europe. But the funniest thing here, the bragging about you, is that you have been second placed globally in World of Warcraft. Marcus, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Wilma. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so happy to do this with you. I usually don't do these kind of things, but I feel real comfortable doing it with you for, I think, the first or second time, something like that. So wow. Yeah, super happy to be here.
That's wonderful. I'm so happy that you're here. And actually, I didn't share this story to you beforehand, but when I met my fiancé, he said that I'm a gamer. And I was like, okay, I'm in SaaS, I've been in SaaS for like 15, 20 years, like too long. And everyone in SaaS is a gamer, but I'm not. I'm really not. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, but that's like, isn't that like bad? And I said, but how much are you gaming? It's like 20 hours a week. I was like, whoa, that is a lot, but okay, you do you. Did you also play 20 hours a week to be that successful, or is he doing something wrong?
I would say like back in those days, and I would also add that this is like 15, 16 years ago. I mean, right. I would call him a lightweight. I think that during my most successful years, depending on how you phrase it, I mean, I was spending a third of a year playing World of Warcraft, and that is wow. Like all 24 hours. So I had to sleep and go to school in those other hours as well. so yeah, it was, but it was super fun.
Yeah.
Would I want to do it again? Absolutely not. I'm done with that phase of my life.
You don't game at all?
I do game, but at a very what we as gamers would say a very casual level. So I still game. I play with my 7-year-old son. We play Fortnite. We do those kind of things. But I mean, yeah, it's extremely casual nowadays.
Like 5 hours a week, or?
Yeah, like 55 hours a week or something like that. No, just maybe 5-6 hours a week, something like that. Okay. Once you do a session, you I mean, you don't want to stop after 30 minutes. So you often pull off a like 3-hour session or something like that.
Right, I heard that too at home before we got kids. It's like, dinner, is it like in 40 minutes or is like more? I'm like, I don't know, maybe 26 minutes. I haven't counted. Then I realized like the games, like where it is. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Can you throw one in there?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, but Meetric, with your words, what do you do and to whom?
We're a conversational AI platform, and as you said yourself, I mean, the most common way that people experience this type of technology today is through note takers. Where we differ is that we don't only access video calls, we do this for phone calls, we do this for physical meetings, and eventually we will do it for your chat and email as well, which basically means that you have one platform that can track all conversation that goes on in a organization and also analyze thereafter. So you don't have to build these sort of silos between, for example, sales and CSM or support or management even. I mean, you can have one platform to, if we're in the gaming like references, one platform to rule them all.
Yeah, that's a great expression. Okay, good. And when I was looking for a tool, I mean, we are a small startup scale up. To be honest, I don't really know when you're switching to something else. But then it's very, very important for us to be true GDPR compliant. And when I looked at some other tools, they said, we are fully GDPR compliant. We have this SOC 2 thing. I don't even know what it is, but it sounded good, But we send all data to the US. And then I asked you, do you also send all data to US? And what were your answer? And could you describe where I actually fell in love with Meetric and went to you guys?
Yeah, so my answer was actually yes as well. But of course, with a tweak, one of the things that we do that most others does not is we anonymize all data that could be considered personal or that could identify you as a company, as a person, credit card numbers, phone numbers, stuff like this. Everything is anonymized, and then we unpack it once we get it back, pretty much. So no sensitive data gets sent across the Atlantic or anywhere else. On a good note, I would also like to add, which is nice for you as well, Wilma, and for VLOXQ, is we've actually updated now, so we don't send anything to across the Atlantic at all. So we've actually improved since last week.
Wow. That is crazy. That is good to know. Is this a common question, or was it just me that had been like too nerdy about something and too afraid of not closing that big dream customer that has very high compliance requirements?
I think that doesn't matter if I speak with someone that has like 5 end users or someone that has 5,000. I think in every first meeting, this is something that we have to walk through, because if not in the beginning, because you already knew when you came into the call, but for others that doesn't perhaps bring it up directly, it is something that once we start talking about the feature, about the insights, about the AI assistant functions, they feel like, this is in the area where I have to ask this. So I don't think I've been in one single call where we haven't ran into it.
Good to know. Good to know. Okay, nice. And can everyone use Meetric, or do you have a preferred ideal customer profile, or I don't know?
No, we don't have an ICP in that sense. We have a very broad range of customers, and what we have done, instead of going down a specific niche vertical, is we've made our platform extremely customizable. So no matter if you're in sales or if you're in customer support or whatever it might be, you can actually build your own AI agent super easy. You don't have to be a developer to do this, and sort of extract the data that you need to make your everyday a lot smoother. And of course, just get better insights that you can make decisions on.
And when talking about AI adoption, I mean, I went to Tech Arenan last week, and it's AI everywhere. The adoption of AI, to me, feels like then quite close. I describe your company as an AI note taker. I heard you said something much more professional. but is this like one of the first steps you take, or from your point of view, what would you say about this?
Great question, and I, of course, I'm a bit biased when getting asked this question, but 100%, whether it be Meetric or something else, I think that many of the AI tools that I see out there, I mean, it's a bit fragmented, it's a bit abstract, it's really cool, but does it really provide you with any meaningful value? I think that conversational AI is amazing because, I mean, every company has tons of conversations, and based on those conversations, we are supposed to make decisions as well. But I mean, to be able to track those and extract things that is going on in the organization, I mean, it's crucial, and it's so easy to implement as well compared to everything else. At least that's my experience. So yeah, I would say this is the best first halt if you're looking to take your company into the 21st century. Absolutely.
What do you say? I mean, I know you sell obviously to different industries in different countries, different personas, organization size. Can you see some pattern here? Who are most adaptable to AI?
I would say what you see is American companies have come much longer than European companies in this sense.
Surprise.
Yeah, exactly. And they also have, I believe that they realize the value. At least this is my experience, which is of course limited. But I mean, what I've seen is the way that they implement it. They see this as a must-have, not a nice-to-have.
Right.
They realize that, yeah, conversations is like one of the crucial things that we must track. And I've heard one guy that worked in sales. I mean, he said like, okay, so what's going on in the conversations has pretty much been a black hole to us, because obviously we can't track that. That would require too much man hours. Now I can just easily access, the insights that I'm actually after and form my decisions based on that. Previously, it was based on results and activity, at least for him in sales. I mean, that's the things you track, right? How much activity are we doing, and what are the results coming from it? Not so much what's going on in the meeting, because it was super hard to track before this.
Yeah, and we're almost like entering now the topic of today, but it feels very narrow when you describe it like that. And I at least could, it was like activities, results, and maybe some quality measurement, like who are we talking with, of course, but not the communication itself, no.
It's super hard. I remember when Richard, the founder of Meetric, I mean, I started out as a client. I mean, he sold to me at BrightBid when I had this, during 2023, when it was this really hard times for SaaS companies, and we needed
horrible year.
Yeah, horrible year. So I mean, I basically got the task of cutting down half my sales force, and of course I still needed to deliver the same or better results as previous year.
Right.
And I quite fast realized that if I'm gonna do this, it can't be through activity, because we're already running so extremely fast. So we have to work on hit rate. We have to work on how effective we are with the things we are being served. And that's when I started looking at this type of technology and this type of companies. And I remember what Richard said to me when he once sold me. He got me with basically one meeting. He asked me, so Marcus, do you have a nice sales structure? Do you have great processes? And I was, we got amazing sales structure and amazing processes. Look at our growth. I mean, judge by yourself. And he said, well, that's amazing to hear, Marcus, but how do you ensure your processes are being followed in the meetings? And silence. So silence filled the room. And I try, as a salesman, I try to come up with some bullshit answer, but I mean, no, there was no answer. I can't. Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at maybe 2 out of each 100 meetings or something like that. Obviously, that doesn't provide me with enough insights.
Very interesting. Okay, I have so many more questions. I'm gonna pause them for some more, I would say maybe not so interesting question for everyone, but it's funny, hopefully. So the first one is your favorite after work drink. Maybe you're celebrating something, or I don't know, on free time with family, wherever you're happiest. What could I pour in your glass, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm just coming off 3 months of 3 white months. Yeah, we have been doing a cap race, and I can't drink during those. I need to be focused. But I mean, yeah, you would win me over if you served me gin tonic Hendrix or something similar to that. I'm quite easy, and I mean, but even if you would offer me a beer, I mean, after a long day, simple is often best. So I mean, I'm quite easily won over.
So have you celebrated that round with a gin and tonic, or is it round still going?
The round's still going. I'm going to London on the 12th, and that's when I'm actually done with my 3 months as well. So we're as long along the road as we should be. So then I feel it. Yeah, now I can give myself a gin tonic once again, and hopefully we're gonna tie down some pretty good partnerships in London as well. So I mean, then I'll have a reason to celebrate.
Exciting times ahead. And your funniest work-related fuck-up that you want to share. And you said it was a little bit tricky to share a funny one, so now I'm even more curious. What could it be?
Yeah, because I mean, fuck-ups we have plenty of. That is not the issue. Then whether I consider them to be funny or not, no, perhaps not. I think all of them are great learning experiences. But I think one that actually you often speak about entrepreneurs and how they forsake their personal life because of obviously their work. So I had just met my now wife, believe it or not, based on this story. We were like 1 year in, and this was during my BrightBid time, and we were going to host this event with some of our most important customers. And I was in charge of like arranging this. We were going to cook with the customers. It was going to be super nice. And I mean, I planned everything. I planned the date. I planned the time. I made like, yeah, it was a good event. Only one problem though is that I did this on my now wife's 30th birthday. So I mean, out of all the times I possibly could have chosen, I mean, yeah, 30 is a big deal. Yes. So yeah, I'm thankful she forgave me and is still part of my life.
I have a similar story, but it is my ex-boyfriend. We were together for over a decade, and he's still one of my best friends, and I'm very happy for that. But we had been together for like, I think maybe around like 2 or 3 years, so at least somewhat more time. Mm-hmm. And then he called me. He was working within the steel industry, if you say so, yeah. And he was like, do we do anything special on the 22nd of March? And I didn't even have time to answer because I booked a trip to Amsterdam with my like 30 biggest customers. I'm like, why are you calling? And he was like, yeah, but do we have something special then? I was like, well, I don't know if it's special, but it's my birthday. So have fun in the red light district or wherever you go.
Yeah, exactly. You can stay there.
You can stay there. Yeah, so that wasn't great, but I stuck with him for like 7 more years or something. So yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe it's a great start. I don't know.
No, exactly. And I mean that's the poor thing for my wife as well. I mean, I never gave it much thought, but I mean, looking back now on our past 4 years, I mean, she's on the 30th of March, so it's always by the closing of a quarter. So I mean, it's either a super nice, fault. 100% it is. So it's either a super nice birthday, or I have failed on my quarterly goals, and I'm like super angry. I'm super pissed, and it's a horrible birthday for her.
It's good then that you have a very good track record within sales. So hopefully this year is gonna be good. Hopefully, keep my fingers crossed.
That's her hope as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. And obviously it's more people than you that done a very similar mistake. Okay, so now I'm gonna try to be more serious again, and we're digging into today's topic, which this was actually a phrase that you said, I think, during your sales presentation on Meetric to me. So you said, "Hunt for truth, insights gained with AI." And I was like, oh my God, you have to be in my podcast show. This is awesome, So obviously a bit starstruck there. But what we are curious in, when you met Richard, that presented Meetric to you, and obviously BrightBid is a great story itself, and very successful too. When you hear that, hunt for truth, insights gained with AI, how would you like to approach it, and what's your take on this?
Well, I would probably share my own experience. I think that is most powerful. And so obviously Richard sold me, right? So I got going with this. And one of the features, one of the things that, I just explained how he got me, like how do you ensure your processes are being followed. So one of the features in Meetric is that you can put in all your like process for different meeting types. Okay, so this is a discovery meeting. This is what we're supposed to do at a discovery meeting. And then you get back like, did we do it or didn't we do it? And you can look at individual sales reps, you can look at individual teams and all these different things, right? And in a perfect world, I mean, obviously when we had been doing this for 1 or 2 months, the most ideal situation would be that those sales reps that was performing the best, that were bringing in the results, obviously they, in a perfect world, would also top the chart of playbook fulfillment. They would be the ones that actually had like 98, 100% fulfillment. And to my ego's disappointment, of course, that was not the case. I mean, no. I mean, people were, in some instances, they were cowboys. They were doing things their own way, but still managed to bring in results. And once you put your ego aside and actually look at it for what it is, I mean, it is the truth. And what are we doing here if not hunting for truth? If this is not a pursuit of truth, I mean, it must be. And once I sort of took that approach to it, I could start doing quite amazing things. I could start doing, I mean, BrightBid is a marketing company, so we often talk about A/B testing. And that is something that is fairly hard and at least to follow in sales. Sure, you can give people different processes, but then again, how do you ensure they are being followed at all? What I did, I took the most successful guys in Norway. I took some of the things that they did differently. I applied it to Denmark, and I started looking, okay, so how does Denmark's results differs? And obviously, you have to do this over time. This is not something that you do just 1 or 2 months. And then you start looking at, okay, so do we believe that this is the thing that actually improved performance? Or was this something that we can just address to the cowboys in Norway and it works for them, but not for anyone else?
Right.
But that is the things that you can start actually looking at and solving the headaches that are actually there rather than what you believe is there or what the sales organization believes is there. Because it's a very emotional industry as well. I mean, we are driven by emotions. Now you can actually look at objective data. So that is quite powerful. And that is what I mean with the hunt for truth or the pursuit of truth.
Right. And many of us working in sales come, surprise, from sports. And my sport was show jumping with horses. And my trainer always said that we have to identify the weakest link, because the weakest link will give the results your highs will be much lower due to this link. And when I think about this, that to me is like the process itself, that we have like a standardized process with best practice as we know of. But then you come to the part like every sales rep are different. I mean, we are humans and people are extrovert, introvert, they have different backgrounds and so forth. How do you handle this? I mean, you have the process of best practices. You take the cowboy styles and try to implement that. How do you do that balance? To me, that is like the magic touch to force everyone into the same process. I don't know.
Yeah, it's super good question, and I would probably say that I agree 100%, and it's this sort of balance between giving the individual what the individual needs, but also, of course, I mean, the key to scale is building processes that can be replicated. I mean, that is like the big jump that I know people often talk about in a SaaS journey. You talk about the founder-led growth stage, and one of the hardest parts is to sort of make the transition so that the organization can run without the founder sales, pretty much. So I mean, processes are super important, but of course, seeing the individual is as well. And I don't believe in putting in, if you take the example that I just gave, for example, I mean, the way that I look at it is that, okay, so we had some top performers that were doing things completely different. I mean, don't change what's working. That's number one, I would say. I mean, if it is working on all levels, I mean, don't change what's working. And what we then rather look at, okay, so is this something that can help other individuals? Yeah, maybe it is, or maybe it isn't. I mean, we'll see on the results. But being able to track these things, I think, is something that is going to help the individual extremely much. I love the reference that you did with sports, for example, and we look at adaptation. If you look at a soccer team today, and a fairly professional one, I mean, they have video analytics even in the lower leagues. They're looking at everything that a player does. I mean, not to put them down, but I mean to show them what can be improved and to show them how they can perform better. And I think that should be the approach that you take in, whether it be sales or whatever it might be. I think that is professional pride. Try to be good at what you're actually doing each day. At least it is for me. And yeah, did that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think so. And I was just thinking about the next question, as a podcast host should do. But it's a super nerdy passion of mine, this. And I was thinking, okay, but you said in the beginning that beforehand we had the activity and the results. And of course, we can communicate with people. And even though we don't enter the meetings or having co-meetings, we can still ask them about it. And people are fairly honest, and they have a CRM system, so you can tell somewhat of that. But when you implemented more AI in your sales process overall for your full sales organization, what was like the 1 or 2 or 3 things that you felt was an eye opener to you, that gave you that extra power, if you will, to really understand what actually works and where?
Yeah, I believe that one of the things that Meetric has is where it differs as well, besides that we can gather from many sources, is that so we have dashboards, and dashboards in itself doesn't make sense. But if I explain it to you like this, so if I have 10,000 recordings from the past 2 months, for example, that in itself, even if I have the transcriptions from these, that in itself doesn't provide me with much value because I don't have the time, of course. What the dashboards allow me is to sort of jump one layer up and take a look at this from an organizational standpoint. So one of the things I always, right or wrong, I always try to focus on the parts that are struggling, right? So if Norway, for example, is having a bad month, a bad quarter, that is where I put most of my energy, because I also know that once I get the low performers going, the other ones are going to step another step pretty much. And so what I could do with this sort of insight, some of the things that I looked at, for example, I filtered and I looked at Norway, and I looked at closed lost, I filtered in that sense. And then I looked at most common objections in our lost deals. And I instantly then, in a 1 second button click, got access to, okay, so these are some of the objections that we are obviously struggling with. And I could look at these, I could see them granularly, so I could see like, yeah, this is the top 1 objection, this is the top 2, this is the top 3. I could then compare it to the, what you would say, the good performing countries. I could say, okay, is it the same? But then I can deep dive into this. I can start looking at, okay, so how are we handling these objections? Why aren't we getting through? What are the most common questions asked from the closed lost clients? What are we missing out on? Instead of just doing, what we all have been doing for so many years, we just do this sort of sales workshop and we work through all the things that we believe is going to help. But it's really, I mean, that old method, it's like taking a painkiller when you need to amputate the arm. I mean, it doesn't solve the issue at all. It's
no drama here.
no, exactly. Perhaps that'd be exactly, perhaps too dramatic.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Okay. So, much better data gave you the possibility to do a further analytics. what actually would matter.
Yeah, of the most important thing, I would say as well. I mean, not the most important. I think I still believe. I mean, activity is a core KPI for myself and my organizations that I'm part of. Like, yeah, if we don't work hard, I mean, people are going to outwork us, and we won't let that happen, will we?
Right.
But then, of course, to be able to make a stop and look at what you're doing and then analyzing what you're doing, I mean, that's the key to growth. I mean, I would say. If you can incorporate those two things in a great fashion, I mean, yeah, then good things will happen. Absolutely.
Agreed. So when you got this information that you had to cut down your sales organization, but the targets were the same, I just assumed that wasn't something you were thrilled about. So my next question, or my actually question, would be like, okay, so what did you do and how did you approach this? We have understood that the Meetric part is one of the things, and maybe it's more that comes to the communication part. But what did you do to ensure the results were as high or higher?
Yeah. So first of all, one have to, of course, to mention this as well. That I mean, what we improved our hit rate with, I think, 50% when we looked at it afterwards. But of course, one of the things that we should take into account as well is when you are forced to make cuts. I mean, of course you cut where it bleeds, but still you don't cut your top performer. I mean, you start at a bottom most likely. So I mean that is one factor that needs to be taken into this stats as well.
Right.
But what I implemented was I implemented Meetric. So I, first of all, just with the basic recording and transcriptions, I mean, there you get some insights, and it sort of amplifies me as a coach, and it amplifies the different sales leaders that we have throughout the organization, because all of a sudden they don't have to be in the meeting at that time. So that is just the good things about recording. But then once we started gathering data, we could sort of, if we had this gut feeling that, okay, so we believe that this person is doing this thing wrong and this might be what's stopping them. I remember I had one guy, every time I looked at him, he was doing things perfectly. I mean, honestly, it was textbook sales, absolutely. But he didn't get him in, and I couldn't understand what it was. When I had Meetric, what I simply did was, when I got this hunch, I believe that he perhaps made it too much of a technical barrier to join. He made it sound a bit tough with the implementation. So they always felt like, yeah, because we started looking at the reasons for not taking it, and it was never no. It was always, yeah, we just have to fix this and that, and then we are prepared to make this journey with you. So we started looking at how he presents the implementation parts, and we solved that. And I think we did this in March. We sort of made this discovery. We enabled Meetric in late January, and Q2 he was our top performer. I mean, it was insane. So we solved this because I mean, you know the feeling when you're working with someone and they're doing everything right. It's textbook, but the results won't come in.
It's sad. It's very sad.
It is, and I mean. That's the thing. In a different scenario, maybe he was one of the guys that we perhaps would have been forced to let go.
Right.
But I mean, now we could actually find the truth of what was going on. So that there's also a reference to the pursuit of truth. I mean, and
really.
sort of and helping the individual in a way that's not possible unless you monitor everything that's going on. But then you neglect the rest of the organization. So it's a lose-lose situation.
Right. Okay. So. First, I don't know how to pronounce this in a nice way, but like the bottom performer, they were helped elsewhere. And then you were looking into like the individuals you really believed in and tried to help them out. You talked about earlier that you had a great processes, maybe very clear ICP. Was it other things as well that helped you to ensure great results with maybe very stronger sales force, but much fewer?
Yeah, exactly. I would say you can't understate the impact of amplifying the leaders. of allowing them to actually give the individual to do the individual coaching in a manner that hasn't been possible earlier, right? So all of a sudden I can look at these different things. I can look at the demo itself, I can look at the presentation, I can look at the closing or the booking of next meeting. I don't even have to look at it, but I can rather put it into my process and ensure that it's being followed. And once we see that it's not being followed, I mean, we can be there and we can nudge. I mean, I'm not supposed to be big brother, but I'm supposed to be there and help people actually achieving their goals. And I also believe that the team was fully on board on that sense, that I mean, and they knew me to that extent as well. So they know that I almost wanted more than them to succeed. And I think that's super important as well. I mean, if you use this type of technology as some sort of big brother functionality, I mean, then it's not going to be adapted in the way that you want. You're not going to get the results that you want. It has to come from a good place of where you want to help people achieve better things.
Definitely. What would you say was most challenging during this time in general?
I would say the actual cutting of the people. I mean, that was people that I loved and had spent a lot of time with. So that is never fun. When it comes to the actual work, I mean, everyone knew what the task was. We had clear set goals. We knew what needed to be done for us to achieve this. So I believe that was grit, and it was hard work, and a lot of like just attitude that got us through it. But I mean, I wouldn't look at any of those months and say like, yeah, that was the toughest or that was the biggest challenge. It was regular sales work just being done in a much more efficient way.
Kudos to you. Very impressive. And from a customer perspective, why is it important for them to be efficient and to have this? I mean, much more, I would say, maybe it's a boring word, but data-driven insights that you actually make your sales organization more efficient by. Why is it important for the customer?
Yeah, and just to be clear, you're talking about, like, for example, Meetric's customer, or you're talking about the customer that is being served by the Meetric client, or?
Very good question. I mean, maybe...
I could argue for both.
I can imagine. I mean, in general, to have more insights and be more precise, maybe. Why is that important for customers to be able to work in that efficient way?
Yeah, I think that is part of the things that is important. I think obviously getting the right insights and being able to make decisions on those are key to running an organization in a great manner. But then I would also say that perhaps one of the things that we haven't spoken about is, you asked me earlier the differences between adoption, for example, and I mentioned that the US they have been adopting this a lot faster. So if we look and we compare American companies that have adopted to AI and compare them with European counterparts that haven't, I mean, one of the biggest thing that you see, besides hit rate, besides coaching, besides insight, is simply workflow automation. I mean, Wilma, you've been working in sales most of your adult life, if I recall correctly. I mean, how much time is being spent on logging into the CRM, if you even do it? And
I've been selling CRM for 5 years, so one of the
exactly,
but that's another story.
Yeah, exactly. How do we get people to actually populate the CRM, right? We're paying millions for it. So sales reps or doesn't have to be sales rep, just people overall in working in an office. I mean, they spend so much time in meetings, and they prepare for meetings, and they send out information after the meetings. A sales rep, I saw some data on it, they are spending like 30% of their time on admin tasks. And I mean, if you remove 10% or even 15% and put that on prospecting, just for the sake of it, I mean, if you look at what you pay your sales organization and you deduct 15% of it, or rather you get 15% more of it, but at no cost. I mean, that's a massive number. I mean, that's for most companies it is. And that's one of the things that I see in Europe. 2023 and 2024 perhaps it was okay to sort of stand on the sidelines and look at AI and, okay, this looks nice, maybe we should adapt it, maybe we should not. But I honestly do believe that companies that does not try to implement AI in a meaningful way and haven't really, taken steps in doing so, they will get passed. They will get ran by because, they will burn out workers faster. They will lose the top talent because obviously they will go somewhere where they don't have to do these different tasks and they can be efficient and make more money. They will make poorer decisions as well because they lack the insights. They have the conversations. They just don't have a mean of actually getting to them. And one of the things in this modern day and age as well, I believe, is that when Blockbuster the famous when Netflix surpassed them and took over through digital transformation. That was not something that happened in like 2 or 3 months or 1 year. That was during several years, during like the rise of the digital age.
Right.
One thing that we should realize now is that 1 or 2 years in this day and age, it's a lot faster than it was back then. I think that someone that is market leader today could easily be surpassed by someone like in a very short time. You saw how OpenAI, from one day to another, was one of the most valued companies in the world. Things go so much faster now. So I think it's super important and crucial to sort of take the steps, or Europe is already behind, but it's up to us. How much are we going to stay behind?
Right. And I've obviously been within SaaS and selling CRM system by all means for like too long. And now trying to spread the passion about what CPQ can do to your business if you are in need of that. It's quite hard. And if we take CPQ that LegalSQ provides with, 83% of all sales rep in the US has some kind of CPQ. And I would never cold call and like, hi, my name is Wilma, I'm a co-founder to a CPQ company, because people would be like, what? So, the ones that have done the big buying, digitalization and AI and so forth, maybe it is because due to the organization size. If we look to Sweden, companies in general are, quite small. We are a small company ourselves, so there's nothing bad about that. We have to start somewhere. But the organization in the US in general are much bigger. Therefore, you have to, or it makes much more sense to look into these efficient gaps. I don't know. It's just a thought that I've been running around with too long.
I think it's spot on. Obviously, if you're selling a sales tool, speaking to someone working in RevOps is of course going to be, amazing, because they understand exactly what this is. But if you talk to a company that does not really grasp the area that you're trying to, spread the knowledge about, it's like introducing a car to someone using a horse and wagon. It looks cool, and perhaps that is a bit too dramatic of a comparison. but you're showing something new, and for most people, it takes quite a long time to sort of get over that first. So what is this? I think we need to be more curious in Europe overall. I think that is, we have these like old institutions of companies that has been doing something and that has processes that is built for different times. That is actually a quote that I got from a meeting the other day. Our processes are built for another day and age. But they realize it themselves. But the process of changing is so massive in itself. But you have to start somewhere. That is for sure.
You really do, and I think what you said, to be more curious, can take you far. As board members, be more curious. Don't be that afraid. Adopt to change. This is old stuff, but yet very interesting. Okay, is this something I should have asked you that we haven't talked about already when it comes to like the hunt for truth, insights gained with AI, something that you would like to wrap up the topic with?
I think we've touched quite many things, to be fair, in this amazing conversation where we he papped through everything. So no,
we have to wrap it up with AI.
Yeah, and with respect of the duration of the podcast as well. I mean, we I guess at some point we have to wrap it up. I mean, it's a subject that I love, and I mean, at some point we're gonna sit down and we're gonna grab that. What was your after work drink?
I'm a bit boring. I love, some old, too expensive champagne. That is my super favorite. Otherwise, I go for more or less energy and tonic, and like surprise me with a new drink I haven't drunk before. So like espresso martini was one of the latest one. Old fashioned I tried out with a very important person at the partner company. She knows who she is. And I was like, I haven't tried that one. I'll try it. And I was like, whoa, I will not take more of these. These were too powerful to me.
It's not for everyone. Yeah, but obviously that will, so very old, expensive champagne. I mean, I'm glad there isn't that barrier. I mean, so yeah, we'll make that happen.
I also said I could do energy and tonic, but I'm
looking forward
exactly to that. And you yourself, who do you get most inspired by regarding this topic?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go backwards in time on this one, because obviously, I mean, saying like Mark Andreessen or someone like that would make a lot of sense, and perhaps more on brand. But actually, I remember one of the first sales books I read. It was this guy called Joe Girard, and he wrote a book called How to Sell Yourself. And so basically, his story was he was the Guinness World Record book holder of selling the most cars in the US, in Detroit, I think it was. So he sort of broke down the process of how he worked and how extremely efficient he was, and I mean his whole process and what he believed to be like the core of his success. How it actually relates to this is that, I mean, I tried for so many years to be like Joe in the sense, I mean, he was tremendous. His activity was amazing. He logged everything amazingly. I mean, he sent Christmas cards. He sent these kind of things, but he kept everything in his books. I never accomplished anything similar to that before Meetric and before, I mean, conversational AI, because now I have my AI assistant that is with me every day, every time, whatever conversation I'm in, pretty much. So, I mean, for me, he is a great inspiration, and this type of technology has helped me to become more like him.
Cool. Even with your wife, or soon to be wife, or it was wife, to remember all the days.
Exactly.
For that.
Exactly. Meetric is for so long, at least it's for commercial industry. So I haven't implemented. So unfortunately, for the sake of my marriage, we don't have this sort of functionality yet.
Okay, I can just give you a short advice that you use the Google Calendar, on recurring.
Yeah. She is part of mine, and she's making updates in it constantly, and I try to look at it.
Wonderful, that's great. Well, very inspiring. I haven't heard about that book. Maybe I should have, but I will definitely check it out. So the outro. What are your main challenges in your business right now?
So we're in the scaling phase, and scaling efficiently while keeping the product simple and powerful. I mean, that is a challenge. We want to grow fast, but we also want to ensure our AI remains truly useful, so it does not become just another shiny tool. But I mean, still, I mean, when the technology is going this fast, it's easy to get carried away in the sort of feature race and just keep throwing things out there. Yeah, we can do this. Look at this new AI model that enables us to do that. But I mean, that is I think one of our main challenges, and I think the other part is just educating companies about this type of technology and how it can effectively help them.
I'm sure you will manage with number 2, and I feel you're number 1. That is my short answer. I feel you. All the features you want to have, and then you're asking yourself, should you really have that? And then you have a new loop you can think about if you're awake middle of the night. Great. Okay. And who would you like me to invite to Fail and Grow? Maybe someone you would listen to yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I would. What was his name? He was actually in BrightBid today. You know this new developers AI, Lovable.
Yes.
I'm not sure what his name was, but I mean, obviously what he has done is tremendous. I've tried the tool. Have you tried the tool?
No, I haven't. But my chairman of the board and founder, we have a WhatsApp, very unserious conversations most of the time, but sometimes very serious, signing the bokslut and so shit like this, sorry my language. But they have tried it out and they were very impressed and they tried to inspire me with this.
It's amazing. And I mean, the growth they've had is something out of this world as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe he's not a like sales leader, but I mean he can definitely speak for growth. So yeah, I mean, I would definitely listen if you could get that guy on.
I'll try. He'll probably be quite popular at the moment, but
might be hard to get a hold of. Yeah.
Very good idea. And okay, you are having that gin and tonic with Hendrix. I'm sharing one with you because I love that too. I sounded like a very spoiled girl, maybe dreaming of being one. Oops. My husband doesn't listen to this. That is good. Okay, so we have that gin and tonic in our hand, and this song comes up, and I know that this was a good quarter. What are we then listening to, and what are we celebrating with?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, obviously I'm an all eater. I'm very much into French hip hop. Yeah, but if we were to do something more popular, I would simply go with something like "Can't Hold Us" by Macklemore. I mean, if we're closing a quarter, I mean something like that perhaps. But then it's a party. I mean, then it's not an after work anymore.
Well, maybe to me an after work would be a party. It always starts, calm and doesn't anymore.
Yeah, just like those Friday lunches.
Exactly. Well, looking forward having one of those with you, Marcus. Thank you again for joining. I've learned a lot, and cheers, and have a great weekend.
Likewise. Thank you for having me, and have a great weekend you as well, Wilma.
Return to the Mac. Get on what it is, what it does, what it is, what it isn't. Looking for a better way to get up out of bed instead of getting on the internet and checking a new hit. Me get up. First shot, come strut walking. A little bit of humble, a little bit of cautious. Somewhere between like Rocky and Cosby's for the game. Nope, y'all can't copy up. Bad moonwalking, and this here is our party. My posse's been on Broadway, and we did it all way. Chrome music. I shed my skin and put my bones into everything I record.